please.
Case closed.
Maybe we could just talk this over.
咱们是趁乱一抽烟，2个人影都看不到边，为救守歹霸，让你也逃不出我手指间。一个丢下，一个
Ooh, look.
我人性如电，一个是左右摇摆青丝。
Give it up, miss. Take a breather, would you? You're not paid enough for this. Just call it a day.
可这位亲低头看，哎，那个大活人上了哪处？
You ever heard of work-life balance? See ya.
新春到，好热闹，这个百姓市集欢声笑。说了个江湖义士叫圆梦，他会幻术。
Gather round, one and all, for a wonder like none other. Huh? We have an audience. Behold my mystical talents, passed down for millennia. Watch closely now.
Criminal spotted ahead.
Me? Apologies, that's all for today. May we meet again? Catch! This'll be a breeze.
Case closed.
Maybe we could just talk this over.
咱们是混乱一股烟，两个人影都看不到边，为什么手持带蜡，让你也 步，两手指参与，一个丢一个
Ooh, look.
我人进无电，一个是左右摇摆轻松。
Give it up, miss! Take a breather, would you? You're not paid enough for this! Just call it a day!
可这个魏青低头看，哎，那个大活人上了哪处？
You ever heard of work-life balance? See ya!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Naraka Bladepoint Pro League 2025 Spring Split. As we're about to get ready to lock in for our day number 3 of our solos. And this will be the last day for some of our solos to lock in and get away from that red line before we take our top players into our first bi-weekly split this weekend. My name is Javier, your host and co-caster, alongside my dude, Seb. And we're about to get ready for our first sets of games. Seb, I know we've been talking a little bit prior to tonight's stream, but you were talking about how the first sets of games were really good coming out of the gate. What are you hoping to see out of this day 3? Because, like I said, it's the first bi-weekly finals coming up this week. And by the way, make sure to link your Naraka with your Twitch, by the way. Before I get to you answer it, make sure to lock your Twitch interactive so that way you can get all of the good drops that we're giving out for today, but also make sure to be watching the bi-weeklies for this weekend because we're going to be giving you some really nice stuff. You get a chance to see the championship bundle, Eternal Radiance, and some Mirage coins possibly too, so that way you can use that and exchange that for some potential gifts in the game itself. So make sure to have your Naraka linked so that way you can get all the goodies for today and this coming bi-weekly final. But for you, Seb, what are you expecting to see out of some of these players that are down low at the bottom?
Well, it's always a difficult thing going into day number 3 is you've got the players who've already played 2 days. So this is our final day for solos of bi-weekly number 1. Next game that will be played for the solo players after today will be the bi-weekly finals. So you've got people who've played two days already. They've played their 12 games. It's all done for them. They just have to wait and see until these players who are playing today finish to determine where they are in the standings. So it is tough if you haven't put a lot of points up in the first 2 days to see somebody come and take away those points and pass you over top. We are going to be able to see the players who are only playing 1 day. We've only played 1 day so far. They're going to be able to try and make a statement and push past to get themselves into the top 12.
It's going to be a hectic day for some of these players here who are a little bit under the chopping block, but we do have a good set of people that are already past it. So some of them, they don't necessarily have to worry, but I don't know. If it was going towards, being the player that has to start versus having to end, I'd rather end at least knowing,
100%
how the standings are. But let's look at the schedule here coming up. Obviously, today is the 27th, Thursday, as we're going into our last solo game. And then on top of that, we have the trios coming into that the day after. Now we have the 29th and the 30th coming in for our bi-weekly finals. And those will be the ones that you guys got to peep out for. The 29th is going to be our solos. And of course, our trios will be on the 30th. As we come into the next couple of weeks here, obviously, it's going to be a very similar schedule throughout these. The bi-weekly 2 starts up next week right after that. And bi-weeklies 3, 4, and 5. And obviously, they're just going to keep going after that. So we're just going to keep working towards that, kind of going through a lot of different things. And it's just going to keep continuing to move forward past this spring final until we get ourselves some champions here, at least towards the solo grand finals coming in May, which, by the way, my birthday is around that month too.
Same here.
On a Tuesday. What day is yours?
I'm on the 24th on Saturday. I don't have to cast on my birthday. Thank you.
The day you're not going to be trying to do that is pretty good. Actually amazing.
Yeah, we've got groups B today, group B and C, who are going to be playing in our day 3. This is the last chance for these players to put points up on the board for this bi-weekly split. If you will not make the top 12, you will not be competing in the bi-weekly finals. But don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, there are 4 bi-weeks. So we have got 8 weeks of Naraka. This is week 2 out of 8 coming to you guys, and not including the bi-weekly finals and our last chance qualifiers. Taking a look at our standings, we've got Lipo, Sha, AS, XY, Ajiao, and Feng that are going to be our bottom players. These guys have all only played 1 day so far. So we're going to see every single one of these players trying to make a stand to get themselves into the top 12. As we're going to be taking a look further and further up the board, some of these players have already played 2 days. So players Edward, Mike, Arano, Wufeng, Shuz, and CDY. These players have all only played 1 day. So that means that the bottom 12 are going to be fighting for these last 6 spots, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. All of the players in the top 6 Wolves PXT, T225, Star, Spider, Frostivus, and Verse have all already completed their 2 days of playing. Frostivus in second place, which is super nice to see. Our boy Frost from BBE this
He's
year,
locked in.
previously on Alliance, came out with a huge day of 26.8 points on day number 2 and a pretty good day of 19.5 points on day number 1, putting him at 46.3 in that second place position. I think this is one of the first time we've seen Frostivus get himself this high going into a bi-weekly finals. It is going to be really great to see what he's going to be able to do at the finals. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, for your players today, we see Mike, Wufeng, Aizhao, AS, Edward, Chuzheng, Arano, Sha, CDY, Lipo, Feng, and XY. These are going to be our players. 12 players battling out for 6 spots. It is going to be a very close one since nobody has clinched their spot and still has another day to play. It's going to be interesting to see. Usually we see one player who's had a phenomenal first day in the top 6 and somebody who's already played 2 games in contention of being knocked out. But with a new bi-weekly, with a new NBPL split, it has set the tone for something different. All of the people who have played 2 days already on the top, 6 to 12 still in the waiting. We're waiting to see who is going to be taking those spots, and the question will be answered after these 6 games.
So it's going to be a good set of games coming into it with a lot of different types of areas in terms of where people are within the standings here. So it's going to be a good set of games. Hopefully a decent amount of them will kind of like really be able to move up the ranks, and we'll be able to see that throughout these next 6 games here, which is going to be very solid for a lot of people here. But I mean, looking at Mike here, I mean, Mike absolutely still dominating the lobby to the point where he's still in that top section here, you know, even after just sitting in the first day in general. So they still have some other spaces in terms of where they got to go. Yuan here, I think, was one of those really interesting special cases where he really showed out in the first set of games. I got a chance to watch a little bit, and man, did he absolutely pop off.
Oh, 100%. XY is a player who does have the opportunity and the potential to get themselves into that top 6. It's definitely a player that you want to watch out for. Force to be reckoned with, 100%. There are a couple of these players that are going to be at a greater risk of not making it just because of their previous performance. We can kind of judge based on what they've done so far. But Edward, somebody who dominated day number 1, still not in the top 6 because he hasn't played today, or hasn't played 2 days so far. Edward definitely has the ability to be one of our top 6 contenders, has the chance to be able to pass into that top 6, and is surely going to be a lock for this top 12 to make it into the bi-weekly finals. But ladies and gentlemen, we've got game number 1 underway. First round of hero selections are going to be Feng and Lipo. Second are going to Sha and Aizhao. Chuzheng and XY are going to be taking round number 3. Mike and AS, 4th round. 5th round going to Edward and CDY. Last round to Wufeng and Arano. We're going to be seeing these picks, and it's been pretty standard for solos in this bi-weekly split. We're going to be seeing a lot of Syra. We're going to be seeing Liam coming out. Lanny has been picked a little bit, but I don't think we're going to see too much of her coming out into this game. Taking a look at what the solos is versus the trios, the solos has been a lot more favorable to Liam, as we're going to see Feng locking in that Liam straight away. Lipo still with a second to pick. The double Liam is going to come out. Aizhao and Sha are going to be next to select. They can pick anybody but Liam. Shael going to be the next one picked. With the new Shael changes that have come out pretty recently, she has become a lot more lethal, being able to throw your shield grabs whenever you want to instead of having to throw them directly after getting hit has been something that has been very valuable to these players. We're going to see the Kylan pick coming out from XY, and Chuzheng going to be on the Lani, double Syra for AS and Mike. 4th round selection, we could see a triple Lani, we could see the triple Kylan coming out. Edward going to go for the Lani pick. CDY, maybe we get to see a Tarka game number 1. That'd be amazing. But the triple Lani is going to come out. Edward, CDY, locking that down. And Wufeng and Arano last to select here. This could be interesting. We've seen Temi come out. We've seen Akos. Justina has also been another viable pick, as Arano deciding to head for that Justina pick. Pretty smart move, in my opinion. The Justina being a pretty viable character in this solo medal. solos meta compared to some of the other hero picks. Definitely not as optimal, which is why we're seeing her getting picked last instead of higher up there. But we have seen a Justina pick pretty early in rounds before. As the games go on and the hero points start to diminish, these players do need to have their picks diversified. So jumping it in, ladies and gentlemen, game number 1, groups B and C.
See how these games go relatively towards this first set of games here. It's going to be pretty good, especially now seeing that. I still laugh at the fact that he changed his name to Edward. I'm going to be honest.
Eddie.
It's like out of all the names, but it's okay. It's all right. So like you said before, decent amount of lock-ins here. I mean, pretty expected for, you know, a lot of these players and how their play style is thus far. I don't really expect too many insane changes to, you know, how people are really rolling with their picks so far. But it'll be definitely good to see how this first game goes. You know, like I always say before, that first game really does, you know, it's such a detriment to the rest of the series here, knowing that we still have, you know, 5 more games out of the beginning lineup here. So we still have a lot of different areas to work through, but expected to see a pretty standard game, I think, off the rip, especially in such a very powerful location like Midoriya, right?
Yeah, we've got a little bit, everything is pretty standard for the ability picks, but we do have Chu Zhang is going to be opting F1 V1 for the Lani, and then we're going to see CDY and Edward both picking up that V2 ultimate. So it's the only variation that we're going to be seeing. Everybody else running standard. Shael's on F1 V1, Syra on F1 V1, F2 V1 for the Justinas, and so on and so forth. F1 V2 for the Liams. Taking a look at our forecast here, we're going to be seeing close to the middle of the map by Imperium. Take it away.
Interesting wide split. Overall, I'd see Tincture Woods, but with 4 different players landing there. I'm curious what's going on over there in terms of how lit that's going to be, because I've never really seen a lot of people land towards that area. Meanwhile, we have the usual section as Sentient's Forearm towards center. We have one person way in the backside of Imperial Hold in the center of Imperium, but also same place, Imperium Camp is also going to be seeing some wide, great amount of players here. But I'm interested in Tincture Woods, definitely a space that not a lot of people really land in, especially off rip, especially throughout this series here, knowing that all 4, clearly something is happening here, and there's definitely most likely some good loot here. So let's see who takes advantage of it and who is going to get the first eliminations of this first game going into our final bi-weekly solo.
Yeah, and this being the first game of the last chance for these players to get themselves up into the standings, it is going to be a tough one for some of them. And Mike with a beautiful juggle down the mountain here, getting the 1.0 off the second time around as well. Wufong in a tight situation here. Scale Rush is going to connect into the uppercut. Jumpy LMB, 1 HP in a dream here. The Scale Rush with the spear going to secure it, but TRG's Fong coming in on the third party here, trying to make something happen. Mike can be able to use that F bubble to gain a little bit of health back, trying to scale up Rush up and away, is going to end up getting the ground into an armor swap here. Fong gonna try and go for some loot. Jump LMB gonna come out from Mike. The 1-2 coming out from Fong into the jump LMB. Mike trying to get the reset into a combo. Isn't gonna be able to connect. Fong flipping it back around with the F ability invested. Triple charge coming in from XY on the other side with that greatsword in hand. Mike trying so hard to get this elimination. Ultimate going to be invested. Gets the stun off onto Fong. Fong getting dangerously low, but XY gonna steal the elimination here. What a beautiful kill steal. Is able to take those purple dual blades away as well. Mike is going to be able to get a huge stun off into a uppercut combo with the longsword. 1.0 is going to miss, is going to connect on the second one though, as AST's XY going to go for a reset. Mike backing off to do the same.
See if he's able to back off that as well here. Yuan Yuan is going to be on the pursuit with Mike at hand here. Curious to see if he's actually going to be able to catch him, because knowing Mike, I mean, Mike can absolutely schmoove like crazy. And he is able to catch him from the inside here. Goes on the outskirts of this beautiful cage here. Unfortunately, isn't able to really grasp any more of that. And look at that, Mike is already gone. The movement king. Really able to try to see if he can find any type of blunder here. Sadly, has that great shield. I mean, obviously, Yuan Yuan having the same thing here. It looks like he's forced to fight. Beautiful back off that with the nunchucks, being able to capture it here. Looks like he's going to try to see if he can go for the stun, but sadly wasn't able to find it. Oh, and he finds the combo break from the blue. It looks like both of them just trying to juggle it out as back and forth as possible here. Looks like Yuan Yuan is going to opt out and going back for the reshield here. And Mike is just going to try to retreat as much as possible here. trying to see if he can find any leeway. He's gonna find that airship. That way he can just keep that going. But Yuan is on him here. Yuan has got to be careful. Mike is definitely one of those amazing players here that really knows how to switch this whole dynamic around here. And it goes from having one thing happening to another. It looks like he's able to find a different shield swap here. And just like that, the opportunity is going to be able to be arose as now he finds the ulti. Yuan's going to pop it here. Going to keep that same pressure on the Mike here. Mike is just trying to see if he can find anything better here. It looks like he wants to find a better shield just in general here. He just knows that Gray is not going to do enough. He finds the blue. Yuan is going to find it first. He actually steals it from him. And now Mike is on the rough side of this block here as he is able to at least get a little bit of something here, but not enough. It looks like he's going to pop open for the ulti here, forcing the blinding, and he starts to catch him right in the face here. And he just shuns him with so much light in his eyes, he barely can see. And now Mike is on the other side of this. See just how fast he was able to do that. Now it's time for the switch around. He's able to catch him with the stun here. Almost catches him very dangerously low, but Yuan just has enough to be able to keep the momentum here. He's had the shield swaps. He was able to continue to keep that pressure. He does a good job of it. And just like that, he captures the elimination on one of the top players in this lobby.
Yeah, Mike had a little bit of a blunder there. He did lose his first elimination to XY. He would have had 2 on the board going into that fight. Would have been able to pick up those purple dual blades. And XY just doing a perfect job of capitalizing that purple value on the ultimate as well. If you don't know, the Kylan ultimate scales up in power depending on what type of weapon you have in your hand when you cast the ultimate. So if you've got a purple weapon, you're going to have the purple rarity of the ultimate. If you got a gold weapon, you'll have the gold ultimate, and so on and so forth. So having that purple ultimate damage really putting in the work for him, able to take Mike down to extremely low. And as soon as Mike comes out of that ult, such a low HP, wasn't able to get much healing off during the ultimate time and unable to make anything happen. Arano here though is coming up pretty close to GG shot. Looks like everybody has backed off for the time being. Nobody really wanting to aggress onto these fights. It looks like CDY can be able to get himself a Moonbane charm and using it straight away, probably to cover one of these realms of Yang. Yang has started to spawn as we've only seen a few eliminations so far. It's been a very, very slow solos game. I think a total of 6 eliminations have happened. Zhang with 2, XY with 2, Mike and Edward both with 1, as we are going to be seeing here now. Bane in hand as well for Zhang if he wants to drop it. I think it is going to go out of time, as we did see the CDY Bane coming up first, as it looks to have himself a complete free Realm of Yang with his Bane. 23 seconds left, dropping on it. He's going to be able to capture that himself, as we are going to be seeing him go for this Realm of Yang. This is it's crazy slow. Usually we see so many more fights happen at the beginning of this game, and it looks like we are going to get to see Shaw versus Arano. Arano taking so much HP from Shaw right away. Shaw bringing it back around. Blue Dagger in hand is going to be able to get enough chip damage to back Arano off. They don't want to get eliminated before getting the opportunity to go into the Realm of Yang, but ASC's XY is going to be taking that damage, and now they're going for the reset. And like they said, even if they get each other super low, they're not going to try to over-aggress onto this fight. XY with one last slash, going to try and send it out. Doesn't get the connect off, but does have his Immortality Blade where he can send as many slashes as he'd like. Is going to be able to knock Axiao out pretty far here. It looks like XY did get himself parried. He doesn't have those dual blades anymore. The purple ones, they are in the hand of Alliance's Axiao. Very low in HP here. These two are going to try and continue to go at it outside of this Realm of Yang. XY taking so much damage. The jumping LMB going to come through. F abilities for both of them, but they go into the Realm of Yang without a victor in that fight. Very close to death there, but ASC's XY, if he gets parried, he's done. He only has the great sword. He's got nothing else in his back pocket. Mike with a full arsenal of blue weapons here, blue armor as well in hand, and the rematch begins. Trying to make something happen with the greatsword against the fan. Not the greatest matchup to have here. Greatsword just being a super heavy weapon, and against a small, fast attacking weapon like the fan, it's not something that you want to be fighting against. As we can see, Mike doing a very good job of weaving and ducking. Focus is going to come out. XY going to pop the F ability to try and avoid that. You're going to see now, gets hit with the F charge again. Ultimate going to be coming out now for both of these players here. It looks like XY going to be able to get that first successful hit off. Second one going to come through as well. No successful ultimate here for Mike, and it looks like the stuns are going to start to come out though. XY getting knocked back, still has 2 slashes left, is going to be able to connect on that one, getting himself some health back. We are going to see now he's got multiple slashes with his immortality. Isn't going to be able to connect on a single one though. Both of these players outside of their ultimates. XY coming down a little bit lower. The slap going to come out. Only greatsword in hand. This is going to be a very difficult task for him to be able to succeed from. He needs to hit a huge charge attack or a scale rush. If he gets a parry off as well, it could be boding in his favor. Mike going to try and go for the heal. Isn't going to connect off the heal. Trying to make something happen with the greatsword, but the 1-2's coming out from the fan. XY so low, and Mike putting on an absolute masterclass with the blue fan in hand. Mike's going to be able to pick himself up some purple armor and a gold staff with some extra goodies to go with it, as long as that Vermilion burn might buff.
Mike ends up getting a payback, and probably one of the best forms of it inside of the realm of Yang, because not only does he do that, but he gets that Vermilion's Bird's Might. So he has a massive opportunity here, and also forces Juan Yuan, obviously, with the timer. So that way it's going to be a really tough time for him here, as he's going to have to force himself to get some eliminations, or at least something of a pick. So that way he can keep himself within this game here. Meanwhile, Shuz is on the pursuit here against Azal. And meanwhile, Shuz, sadly, who lost his realm of Yang, is going to have to do the exact same thing as well here. He's going to have to capture an elimination as he pops open his ulti here, trying to see if he can capture at least some type of damage here, as 4 more players are going to be around the same rotation here, trying to see if they can capture something here. Chuz doesn't necessarily have to force himself to fight. All he has to do is get one of the soul blooms, and he's back in this game just like that, as Shah gets an elimination on Lipo in the middle of this battle here. Still going to be able to keep the rotations moving as much as possible here. Let's see if we can keep that same momentum going for a lot of different areas here, as Mike will try to roam free as best he can, or as best as possible. Looks like Mike's going to try to see if he can find it, as Zal's going to find himself inside of the cave here. Hopefully tries to see if maybe he can find some decent loot here, but it looks like he's just kind of going through. He's just looking. He's just passing through. Not really here for nothing. He's here for vacation. That's about it. Zal's continuing to be on the pursuit here, but Mike is on it. He wants this elimination. He wants to try to see if he can get any free picks here as possible, knowing that he has that Vermilion's Burst Mine. He has a get out of jail free card here. Beautiful slide all the way down. Not really using too much of his energy here, but now he has to be careful, knowing that JLAS is right there up top here. Oh, and Mike comes through. He dodges from the outside, waits for the opportunity to strike, and he steals the elimination away from the third party. Beautiful timing here, but Chuz is not here for nothing. He's going to come back here, trying to see if he can manage it, but Mike, dangerously low, is going to have to back off this. He pops the ulti in such a beautiful fashion, forcing everyone to scatter as much as possible here. And now Chuz is on the worst timing here, the chopping block that he needs here, as he's going to close it off. Chuz gets so lucky to find a great shield swap in the middle of all of this madness here. Both of them with so many blue strikes. Mike comes through with the parry, blinds at least 2 to 3 different players here. He's dangerously, not looking the best. He gets shroomed out of both sides here, and Yuan comes back with a strike and a finish to eliminate Mike in the middle of this massive moment of epic proportions here. What a comeback coming in from Juan. He was able to find the soul bloom, gets it, and also gets payback on Mike. This looks like it's going to be a good series, guys.
And it's going back and forth. XY gets the kill on Mike. Mike gets the kill on XY. We saw a beautiful kill steal coming in there. And it looks like XY was able to come away with the one soul bloom. I am not 100% sure which one he did end up grabbing. But we did see Aizhao and Zhang going down there very fast, as Aizhao was eliminated by Mike. Zhang did get taken out pretty quickly there as well. We are going to be seeing now going to this next realm of Yang. Looks like Mike ready to make something happen. He's got nunchucks in hand, as well as that gold staff ready to fight if he needs. Looks like we're seeing a purple pole sword drop coming out. I believe Edward, I'm not sure if he's just dropping weapons or if these weapons were just already on the ground as he's trying to kite away here. DRG's Fong ready to fight here. Doesn't look to be going for this realm of Yang. We're going to see Fong almost able to get Edward into a ball here. We are going to see him get sent, oh my goodness, into the jellyfish, which is going to cause him poison damage, forcing Edward to try and heal himself up fast. Fong doing a beautiful job of getting himself this reset quickly, as Edward no ultimate available. Might come back to re-aggress this, but it's not the smartest play for them if they're going to be trying to make the play into the rest of this game. Mike getting this Realm of Yang completely uncontested here, as we're going to be jumping through. Looks like he's going to be the first person to land into the Realm of Yang. We're going to be seeing who else will be joining them in a second, but very interesting fight's going to be starting to happen here. 9 players remaining, only 4 to go in the Yang. We're seeing our second player enter, and it's WZ's Arano. Justina versus the Syra. Vulpine Essence available for Arano. So this could be really big for him here. If he gets Mike super low, Mike's going to take the ultra aggressive fight, trying to take Arano out, but the Vulpine Essence will be able to be there to save him if he does make mistakes, although he won't be trying to make them, as Mike trying to come through, gonna get himself parried here, losing that gold staff. That is not a situation that Mike wants to be in here. Get that over the top R&B with the nunchucks. This is going to come through. Ultimate invested now for Mike, trying to see if he can get the dazzle off, and it looks like he was able to get the dazzle. Arano able to dash away though, trying to see if he can get a little bit of healing off, but it looks like he's just been stuck. For Arano has had to use 2 dashes to try and get away from this ultimate here, and now Mike over the top, the 2-1-1 weapon swap combo coming out, as he's going to be able to get so much damage in. Trying to get a combo is Arano not able to connect on any sort of combo here, as Mike just pushing through everything, not giving up prio at all, and the Vulpine Essence is going to come into play here. Arano very low, trigger going to come through, and he's going to come through with another R&B to make something happen. Charged LMB, sorry, to try and deal some extra damage. Mike, you'll be able to come over with another LMB, and it's 1 HP and a dream for both of these players. 1-2 coming out. Scale rushes for both of these players. Pistol shot's going to come out, and it looks like Mike with the scale rush into the sky is going to take Arano out. What a beautiful play here, as Mike going to pick himself up another gold weapon. Arano with that gold staff does have a very high probability of being able to get himself back into this game with a soul bloom and getting an elimination. There are 9 players still remaining in this lobby, so we've got plenty of time to see who's going to come out victorious. Arano on the hunt for a soul.
A lot of time here. Let's see what happens here. Meanwhile, Mike and Yuan, I feel like this is something we're going to be talking about for the rest of the night here, knowing that both of them are tied up. 4 eliminations here. Yuan with 4, same with Mike. But one of the only 2 that realistically have more than that outside of Juicy Shaw with 3. But he is going to have to make some magic happen here. He's going to see himself at least outside of the spectrum of getting eliminated here. Unfortunately for Wu Fong, he's going to dip out here with that Justina ult. Doesn't want none of that smoke whatsoever here. Going to take himself out of the equation here. Has some shields. Is going to probably start to settle in a little bit, knowing that we still have some time left within our fights. As CDY and Arano are in the middle of fighting. Decent little pick back here ends up backing off that with the pistol. Both of them waiting this out as OUG's Mike starts to come into the mix here. Now he's back on the hunt like always. You know, when it comes to Mike, he's usually always ready for the next battle. Takes his time here with the blue, waiting for the charge strike to happen, and then Arano pops open. Oh my goodness, uses it as an opportunity to freeze CDY. Was gonna possibly maybe attack him in the midst of that, but ends up getting attacked off the back from Mike. In the middle of that, a hectic little area here for a moment, but looks like now they're just kind of juggling back and forth, just trying to decide whether or not they actually want to really be able to push into this. Decides possibly not to. Really going to kind of continue to push forward onto this. Oh, Arano with a beautiful timed parry onto Edwards. Edwards going to be able to do a decent reset here. He's able to pick off the rest of it, but now he's getting caught in a corner here with Mike. Not the best timed moment here, as now he ends up seeing him as well. He pops the ulti here. He's going to try to see if he can get out of this, but no! Arano with a beautiful timed blue LMB just to be able to take the strike out on the other player, as well as now CDY is on the back stretch. He's able to capture free elimination. Now Yuan is on his 5th elimination as well into this. CDY is going to be able to go for the heal. He finds Mike off the back. Beautiful strikes here. Ends up trying to see if he can capture a juggle here, but oh no, he ends up getting out of that as OUG's Mike ends up doing a beautiful parry on the Wufong. CDY says, no, I'm good. You got that, buddy. Trying to go towards this rotation here. Both of them are just kind of juggling it. back and forth, not really trying to do too much pressure. He's trying to see who's really committed to it. Because knowing how the rest of these players are going to be able to take fourth. Oh, Mike ends up catching him with that beautiful parry here. Goes for the reset. He wants to be able to pursue this as well here, but he knows it's close to the end here. Even if he catches him inside of his corner here. Definitely doesn't want to catch him too strong into this. Oh, absolutely misses onto that parry as well here as Arano trying to see if he can claim it, but he ends up capturing it. And Mike, oh, tries to catch him in the corner here with the blue RMB with the nunchucks, but Arano's gonna be able to pop it, gets outside, and he dips out. Mike wants to be able to continue to capture this, but I don't think that Mike was able to find him here. Arano ends up getting out of that pretty safely. From what I can tell here, I take it back. Mike wants this fight. He wants to fight. He said, you know, you gonna fight me, buddy. There is no like, oh, you know, maybe, oh, I'm gonna let it slide. No, this is why Mike is one of the most dangerous players inside of this game today. He is the lion. He is the Akos. He is the absolute detriment that this game is. He is the problem. And he finds it, he focuses it, and he absolutely puts in so much time and effort and gives everybody a run for their money. And that's exactly what he's doing inside of this. He gives nobody no breaks. He gives nobody no hesitation. He pops it open, trying to catch him with the blue LMB. Arano might get eliminated from this. He sadly had to swap it for the gray LMB, and now Arano is on the worst type of timing possible.
Yeah, Arano not in the greatest situation here. Gray armor swap was available for him, so he did take it to make sure he still had a standing chance in this fight. But now if he does get the ability to go for a heal, it won't be enough for him to be able to combat with all these players on purple and gold armor. Arano doing an amazing job at kiting this out though. Mike not letting up on the pressure, knows that the ultimate is burned. 80% left on the ultimate. If he can kite for a little bit longer, Arano will be able to get himself back into this, and the 1.0 is going to come out from the longsword vertical. And now Mike still trying to see if he can make something happen on to Arano. Arano extremely low here. You're going to see Mike able to break through it. F ability invested 95% on the ultimate for Arano. As soon as his ult's going to come up, we're going to see him pop it here and try and put a bit more distance between him and Mike. Here we go. Ultimate going to come out. Arano just needing to back off of this. Seeing Mike doing a very good job at tracking, though. He's able to understand almost exactly where Arano has gone, following and picking him up. We are going to see another armor swap coming into play here, as the last of his freezes have been used. Arano doing a good job. He has gotten himself pretty far away. Mike looking to go for the heal here. Is just going to go for a quick bit of a reset, while Arano hiding down below. As we're going to take a look to the other side, it looks like ASE's XY ultimate popped and ready here, as he did get that spirit well, giving him that extra ultimate ability. And he pops it, refreshes immediately after claiming that spirit well. He now has another ultimate available if he so needs, knocking DRG's Fung into the air off of that with the poison damage that's coming out as well. Fung could be a sure elimination here. And it looks like, oh my goodness, TE's Wufang going to steal the elimination right out from underneath ASE's XY. Not too happy about this. He had to invest the ultimate, the second ultimate, mind you, to be able to come away with this elimination. So now making TE's Wufang the target of the lobby, one of his priorities. Very low HP now on Wufang. The lobby might be able to catch on to this. Mike certainly did see a Justina low, and we know he's been targeting those Justinas out, as we saw earlier when he was fighting against WZ's Arano. Looks like we're going to be chasing through ASE's XY and Mike from OUG, going to try and make sure that Wufang does not have a standing in the rest of this game. Into the depths of the Bane, as well as watching out for those poison jellyfish. This is going to be a very interesting escape, as we are going to see the poison getting popped here. And I believe Wufang did get hit by the poison. So now XY able to clean the elimination up extremely easily. 7 eliminations on the board now, or that's the 6 eliminations, sorry. 6 eliminations on the board for ASE's XY. 3 gold weapons available for him. Gold armor as well. Mike and Arano, less eliminations on him. We've got 6 for XY, 4 for Mike, and 2 for Arano. This is sure to be a phenomenal end circle here, as we are going to be seeing the gold spear coming out with that Heartstarper kick, Gold Jade from Arano. Gonna get himself parried really quickly here though. Mike able to get that golden spear away from Arano. Going to use it for himself here, as no ultimate available still for Arano, as he did see him use it to get away. And now XY trying to join in the fight on the third party. Arano becoming the target of the lobby. Justina is just not doing too well against each other, against these other heroes into this meta. As now we're seeing the poison coming through. I believe it's hit almost everybody. Arano hasn't been hit with the poison, but we did see Mike getting hit with that. He's backing out to try and heal here, but Arano getting extremely low, going to knock the poison as well. There's another one of those poison jellyfish, and they're coming hugely into play in this final circle. XY going to continue to try and chase this. Arano is extremely low on HP, needs to try and find an escape route, and it looks like he's going to get the reset off.
He was able to. Arano has been some really tough situations here where somehow he's been really able to back out of this, but now he's not going to be able to, as he knows Mike is now on the crossroads here, fully paying attention to Arano here, knowing that it looks like Yuan is like kind of probably wondering where everybody else is inside of the circle here, or he's just letting them fight most likely into this. It looks like there might be a whole battle inside of this section here. So it'll be interesting to see how he's going to be able to handle this as Mike forces the ulti, tries to see if he can back off this. He's going to try to see if he can find Arano here. He wants to try to see if he can get this free elimination. He is 4 deep into this. Yuan has a massive opportunity here. And I just want to say something. Yuan was in like 16th place when we first started this game. 6 eliminations into this game, and he's already past the point of qualifying. Already. It takes 1 game. And just like that, Yuan is in contention for qualifying after game number 1. That's just how incredible this game is, and that's just how amazing these players can really switch it up here, knowing that they're playing against the best in the world. Knowing that in this moment here, 4 seconds left on the clock, circle closes in. This is where things get good, guys.
Yeah, it's going to be down to the buzzer. We've got 2 minutes and 35 seconds left in the entire game, with Circle 6 closing on to Circle 7 as we speak. We are going to be seeing these players start to make a descent towards the middle. I don't believe there are any more of these poison jellyfish to watch out for, so that has been taken out of play. We did see it affect a lot through that last little bit of gameplay, and Mike is going to start to become the target here. Does not have his ultimate online. XY, the only one with ult available. I do believe Mike will get his ult back before the end of the game, so we are going to see that Syra come out huge in the end circle, and the Justina can be a huge problem if they don't deal with it right away, and it looks like that's what they're trying to do. Mike trying to push Arano out, but the jabbing from ANC's XY on that gold spear, or the gold staff, just doing so much damage. Now Mike taking a lot of hits off from these other players now. Getting low, no shield left available, has just a little bit of health. I believe he's still getting healed by something. I'm not 100% sure what it is, but the ultimate's going to come online in the nick of time, and Mike going to be saved by this, going to go up into the sky, trying to see if he can hit XY out of the air with that giant laser beam from the Syra ult. Arano going to get hit with the scale rush here. Forced to pop that F ability. XY going to try and get up close and personal with Arano. Unable to make anything happen. These players are getting to full HP, then hitting the reset, getting back to full HP and hitting the reset. I do believe Mike might have some advanced heal shade coming through. He is been able to heal up pretty quickly and consistently. All of these players utilizing almost all of their resources. It's hard to believe that they have a lot of heal pots left. If they do get into a fight where they're brought extremely low, again, actually, Arano was 6 and 4. XY might have a bit less here. Mike could be the one with the least amount of pots. We do see a lot of health pots actually on these players. I did speak too soon here. They have been using a lot of resources, but being able to find more as the game continues to progress, as the levels of this are going to start to come out. XY being the one taking a lot of damage in this final here, as Mike with the huge pull sword. XY, beautiful parry coming through onto Mike. We do still have ultimate available. We are going to see the Kylan ultimate coming out now. Immortality proc already out though. This is going to be dangerous for XY. He had this match in the bag. Now it looks like it might all be coming up for Mike. Arano going to try and make something happen with the freezes. XY going to see if he can take out Arano. Arano going to be able to get the elimination. Mike getting that final kill. 5 eliminations, and Mike going to steal that MVP from XY right under his nose. Oh my goodness, what an end circle.
How unfortunate, but also I'm not surprised. I mean, we're talking about Mike here, who really is... Oh, never mind. Oh. XY still ends up taking the top spot here. He might have ended up catching an elimination here towards that final circle potentially, or he just ended up in second place. You know, sometimes when it comes to these play styles, sometimes it's not always about being the last one alive. Sometimes it can just be if you have a couple extra eliminations ahead of you and a second place, that could still put you in the top spot here. Obviously, this is going to be a very close amount of points. I feel like it's only going to be maybe a point difference. Very, 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 very small difference of points in terms of being XY and Juan.
I thought that Arano got the elimination onto XY, and then Mike was able to get the elimination onto Arano, but maybe XY got the kill credit for Arano. We'll take a look at the standings in a second here. But Mike, I believe he finished with 5 kills. He could have finished with 4. He had 4 going into that end fight. I thought he picked up 1, and then with the multiplier and the placement points, that would have placed him in first. But XY is going to be the one to claim this MVP, so that does mean that he was able to come out victorious overall in the scoring. We're going to be taking a look at the scoring in just a sec, ladies and gentlemen. But wow, what a game number 1. It was really slow coming off of the start. We didn't have a lot of players after second Yang, or we did have a lot of players after second Yang, sorry. So it did speed up there for a minute, but we didn't really get to see a crazy showdown until that end circle. Everybody was getting low, but letting the reset happen as they didn't want to overcommit into these fights. We are going to be taking a look really quickly. But ladies and gentlemen, we've got a question for you in the Twitch chat. Answer this question with A, B, C, or D in the Twitch chat, and one lucky player will be selected for a Summer Split random gift. And the question is, which player chose Kylan Zhang in game number 1? Was it A, OE's Edward? Was it B, ASE's XY? Was it C, Alliance's Ajiao? Or was it D, JL's AS? Ladies and gentlemen, if you can drop your answers in the chat, one lucky winner will be selected. Don't forget to send Naraka your UID if you win, otherwise you will not get the prizes.
Yeah, and there's been a few people that haven't gotten their prizes, and they end up moving on. They end up putting it back in the chat and say, okay, second place, you get it. And then they just keep rappling it until eventually somebody gets it. Somebody's going to end up leaving with it. I'm going to walk out of here with something. Oh, yeah. Honestly, that was a very close game, though. You won. Can we talk about a heck of a first game performance, putting them from close to way down at the bottom to now being past the point of the chopping block for being eliminated for this first bi-weekly final off of one game. Now they just have to keep the momentum. They just have to keep going. They got to keep staying in the top spot for a lot of these points. They don't necessarily have to get top eliminations, but the more eliminations that they get, obviously, the higher they will be in the standings. But still a solid performance from him, though. A little, well, non-surprising coming in from Mike, because like we said before, Mike is one of the greatest players of all time. There is no questioning it now. There's been enough finals. There's been enough trophies he's hosted. There's been enough jackets he's put on to be like, Mike is the greatest Naraka player of all time. Now, as one of the greatest of I'm surprised both of them didn't just turn around and start focusing Mike, if I'm being honest.
Well, in that situation, they don't know which one Mike is 100%. They can make a very good educated guess, but as we're going to see, it looks like XY did take the elimination onto Arano. So XY finishing with 7 eliminations, 1.5 ranking points with the game score of 8.5, and then Mike with the 4 kills, getting the 0.8 extra from that multiplier, and the 3 ranking points is going to put him at 7.8. And you were right, it is less than a point differential between the two of them to claim that MVP, but XY is going to be victorious with the 8.5. Arano taking 3rd place with the 5 points, Shaw with the 3.5, Wufeng with the 3.5, 222 for Chuzhang Feng and CDY, 1.5 for Edward, 1 for Lipo, 0.5 for AS, and Ajiao is going to be taking no points. The big donut on game number 1. Very unfortunate to see, but it's got to happen to someone. It's got to happen sometime.
Unfortunately, he was definitely getting chased around pretty hardcore by some of the top players here, and obviously they were able to capture those points as well and keep it going here. A little surprising for a few play styles, but obviously not too bad, though, as we look at the standings here already. I mean, as we're looking at the total, from what we were talking about earlier here, you know, we're seeing, you know, down at the bottom here, some of these players are already eliminated. You know, AS is currently in the middle of working on theirs as well. Lipo, still the same thing here. And then it just kind of goes towards some of the other combatants as well. So here's what we had said from earlier. If we go up past this, look at Yuan Yuan. He's already past the point 19.5. Now all he has to do is gatekeep the other player.
Yeah, if he holds the this position that he's in with consistency, he's going to be able to top these players' point averages and keep himself in the top 12. As we are going to see, Mike has brought himself into the top 5 now, surpassing both a T225 and I believe our 7th place player now, who was in a different position before. We had him in 6th. T225 was in 5th. Mike jumping up 2 positions. We're going to see, this is where the fun starts to happen. We get to see how many points Mike is going to put up today to try and climb to that top. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be taking a look really quickly at some of our highlights brought to you by China Youth.
He's going to be able to go back towards the top of the order here. I mean, Mike absolutely putting just so many, just the BTAs on all these players here. As you saw Yuan Yuan doing the exact same thing here and getting that elimination onto Mike, which Mike, you know, as much as he is, you know, the dynamic person, you know, he has his bad days every now and then, or at least his bad game. But obviously coming in from that first realm of Yang, he was able to lock in off rip and really see that amount of momentum happening here. You see CDY here trying to see if he can capture it and conjure up that elimination here as he does get the grab. But that was from the Vermilion's birds, Mike, so he was able to get right back in the game and keep it going here. Meanwhile, Huang using that same energy onto it and back inside the realm of Yang here, where Yuan Yuan wins another realm of Yang. He lost the first one, and he said, I'm not losing this next one here. And he does get that elimination onto CDY. Beautiful strike down all the way and absolutely completes him with the ulti coming through. And after that, it was just a lot of interesting picks from some of these playstyles here, a lot of third-party actions from a lot of different areas here, and then down towards the bottom, where once we got to the final few eliminations here, those picks really started to become a little bit less apparent and more on how can I really add to the spectrum of those combos to try to see if we can get some finish going. So obviously we come through for the first elimination, and the first MVP is first, actually. XY, Yuan Yuan, with 32,000 damage coming through, and 11K coming from the skills and ultimate, 17K in healing, and 7 eliminations. 32K for first MVP with some solid stats.
He's got some interesting soul jades. We saw him using more of the staff and pole sword, but Phoenix Blast in the back pocket just in case he found himself that gold or a longsword of any rarity. We saw the 2 Nod Jade coming out. Desperation definitely played a huge part in that final fight. The Poison Splash was probably one of the reasons why he was able to pick up that elimination after death and actually secure himself the MVP there. 2 Nod Jade definitely coming into handy for being able to not waste resources and get that healing up at a higher rate, as we are going to be seeing ASE taking game number 1. Game number 2 is about to get underway. As you know, ladies and gentlemen, we like to play game 1 and game 2 back to back before giving you a break. So we're going to be hopping right back into the action in just a second. But wow, what a first game. It was ASE and Mike going at it since the beginning. The first fight that we saw XY fighting Mike. ASE's XY was able to steal a kill from Mike. Mike tried to get the elimination onto XY. ASE gets the first kill. Second kill goes to Mike in the realm of Yang. XY is able to then get the elimination onto Mike with Vermilions. Then in our next realm of Yang, we see ASE and Mike going back at it again. Or in the second realm of Yang, I guess we saw him against CDY on the Kylan ultimate that we did.
Right now it's tied.
But right now, then it was tied. And then at the end, we got the last place finish from Mike, but then we see the MVP go to CDY. So they really just shared that game, or XY, sorry. They really shared that game back and forth and back and forth. And this is what we love to see here. I'm excited to see more of how Mike and XY are going to start their fights. You know, we didn't get to see too much from these other players. It's usually a lot quicker off the start. We're seeing a lot more eliminations coming out, but it has been pretty tame as game number 1 has come out. We're going to be moving over next to Holoroth, I believe. So
yes,
our Holoroth game should be a little bit more aggressive. I'm excited to see a little bit more value coming out of these Liam ultimates. He is being the first picked hero, but I'm not seeing the value that's coming out from him. Lots of these Liam players aren't placing very high and making stuff happen. It seems to be these heroes. Like we saw in the end circle, we saw 2 Justinas, we saw a Syra, and we saw a Liam. Or a Kylan. Liam's were dying out pretty quickly. We didn't get to see too much action from our Lanis. And then Mike obviously on the Syro to put on a masterclass, but our Justinas were a pretty big factor coming into this final circle. So, it's interesting to see that the picks that are being picked first aren't getting as much value as these players would have liked. I don't know if that's a skill issue as far as the players goes, or if that's going there. They're trying to target out the heroes that are going to do better in the end game and eliminate them first before fighting the players that aren't as much of a threat like Justina in the end circle. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be jumping into game number 2 pretty quickly here. But Dobby, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I feel like as much as Liam is like such a good like overall pick, I still feel like Kylin is definitely like the more of the. I wouldn't call it a wild card, but sometimes when he pops, that's what it feels like. The amount of real big rage that it comes from that type of character here, and the amount of power and dominance that Kylin really shows in a lot of different situations here. I feel like it's kind of one of those that I feel like Kylin is kind of the one that gets the most picks, or at least the first picks. In terms of the option of, who would I really use in a lot of different situations here. And I feel like Liam is kind of one of those things where I feel like people kind of, those are kind of the second base picks, or they kind of prevent people from using Liam, so that way more people can have the option for Kylin, right? Me personally, I would probably be picking Kylin, so that way, other people can't, right? Because I think he has such a strong, powerful moment here on top of all of the other, different heroes that we usually see, like the Akos every now and then. We'll see the Cyrus, obviously, who's really been starting to make some proper introductions. And same thing with Shiloh as well. But I just feel like Kylin is definitely the one that's the more wild card character,
Yeah, especially after the nerfs, Kylin hasn't been as prominently picked. So when you do get to see him come out in a game, and especially when he performs well like XY just did, it is something that is really cool to see. And it is definitely the wildcard kind of pick because, I don't think we've seen that much Kylin coming out in solos. Trios, he has been dominating the meta, especially with the Z-Ping and the Syras. We've seen him in that Monk composition where we've got the Kylin Monk, the dubbed Smash and Grab that we've been trying to come up with some names for these trio comps. It's been a little bit difficult, but as the season progresses, we're gonna be getting better with all of those things. Next though, the Liam pick, it just seems to have lost. It's been very valued and coveted. Liam, it used to be Liam and Hottie and Kylin were picked. Now Liam being the first pick, he's still there. I feel like it just isn't fully there, the execution when it comes to playing Liam. I feel like it just needs a little bit more to be really dominant, but it does go to show like how balanced everything has been playing out. Like one character isn't dominating every single game, and it's always it's not always dominating, right? And it's nice to see that everything has started to kind of switch off. It is still a very prominent hero, and I do appreciate the use of it. I just don't get to see many cool plays coming out from these Liam players. And I'm not sure whether it has to do with just the skill of the players who are picking Liam in that certain game, or if it's just the fact that we don't get to see very many eliminations come off in this early game.
Kind of interesting to see how that type of momentum, or in reality, those moments really show forth for a lot of different areas here. But let's see if we can keep that type of momentum happening for a lot of different areas here coming into our game number 2. I think we're going to see something similar, but we won't know until, well, the day is still young, and the early game picks really do fit with this type of strike. So let's see where this momentum strike happens for a lot of different areas for these playstyles, knowing that we still have 2. We're only in game number 2, and it's going to be in one of the bigger ones too, which is Holorath. Way more spread out, way more action, way more of a lot of different things here. And obviously, Wufong and Arano starting us up for the first round selections, which mean Edward and CDY. You're going to have to pick wisely for game number 2 picks.
Yeah, round 2 selection going to Edward and CDY. So we're going to see the double Liam lock from Wufong and Arano. Arano had an okay game, like holding that 3rd place, especially on Justina. Something that was very nice to see. It was very good play from him, being able to hold out for that long, especially after getting brought so low so many times. Mike was relentlessly chasing Arano for so long in that fight. So we are going to see the double Liam lock. And I do understand the potential that Liam does have. I just feel like we haven't gotten to see the potential reached because these players are doing so good at locking it down. Shyle as well. Shyle, we didn't get to see too much of in that end circle. After the use of these ultimates, both of these heroes are pretty, they're left with very little to defend themselves. So, you know, the F abilities from both of them, Liam's F just absolutely unstoppable. We're going to see the Lonnie Kylan split again. We're going to get another landing from Chu Zhang. XY going to opt to go for the Temi on game number 2. Interesting pick coming out from him here. We don't usually see a Tumulch this high up, even when Cyrus is still available. It looks like they might be picking Syra for a different map. Olaroth, maybe not the most favorable for Syra. GG Shot is going to go for the Syra though. Justina pick for Asia. Lipo and Fung, the last 2 players to pick here. Fung going to opt for the Justina, Lipo going for that Syra. So we are still seeing the double Syra. We are seeing the double Justina. As we're going to be jumping into this, we are going to be seeing who is going to be using which ability. Lonnie, we did get to see a little bit of a split. We didn't get to see too much of the Lonnie happen either. The most action that we're getting to see a lot of is the Syra ultimates, and the Justina ults have been coming out in full fruition. Kylan has been one of our main stage on the screen so far today. As these players are going to be getting ready to lock in, we're going to take a look at these ultimate ability and F ability picks in just 1 second. Taking a look.
Shocker?
Here.
I think not. Is that for you on though? The Temi, very interesting pick. I'm not gonna lie.
In picking Temi that high up, I think it's gonna have to do with his strategy of round selection picks. I believe that he's trying to make a play so that he is able to play a double pick a certain amount of times. With how the rotations are going, there has to be some method to his strategy here. We're going to see the Temi coming out from him early. Usually these players opting to play with a hero that they are less favored on a map that they might not excel on. So we could be seeing that from XY here. The Lonnie picks, there is the only double, and Chu Zhang going to be opting for the double pick right away. It's such an odd pick. Chu Zhang is going for Lanny twice. You know, when there's heroes like Liam in the game, when there's heroes like Shyle, Kylan, and Syra, it's very difficult to judge Lonnie in the second game, especially when you don't have the greatest performance game number 1. But Dobby, take it away with our forecast today. Where are these players going to be dropping?
A lot of different areas here. Definitely looks like it's going to be snowy in certain peaks here in the Yushan ruins, as we see a lot of players heading towards Black Frost. It looks like Shards Lake is going to see a little bit of some players near Snow Lotus, as well as Watchman's Gate. It's going to be edging where the desert is. So in those areas, you know, it gets a little bit hot. The degrees are very much a lot higher, more in the like 90s, the real quick 90s. But over there on that left side, it definitely gets a lot more cooler. Meanwhile, we got at least 3 players near Plum Castle, and one of them just can't stay away from the Salvation Podium, so they're going to be very close to that one. So in those degrees, it's going to be more in the you know, 70s, 80s. It's still going to be pretty mildly hot here, but let's put some coats on and let's start off in the Yushan ruins here between some of the top players, or at least some of the bottom players, inside of the game number 2 here in Yushan ruins. Take it away.
Taking a look here, we are going to be seeing JL's AS. Gray fan in hand, going to try and find himself a little bit of armor before getting into these fights. It looks like Asia not far behind him. So all of these players going to start getting into some action, and CDY already getting dangerously low here. Lipo trying to chase, blue staff in hand, has some armor under his belt as well. CDY in a very bad situation here, going to try and get these grapples away. And it looks like Mike has noticed the commotion and deciding to join in onto the fun here. CDY extremely low in HP, needs to hit this scale rush, and is moving perfectly through these buttery rocks, being able to avoid all of these players. Mike very, very close in pursuit, though, is going to get knocked by a grapple from behind. Lipo is going to take the lead. It's like we're casting some F1 racing going on right now. GG Shot in the mix now, as we're going to see on the other side. I believe that's Arano coming into this fight. GG Shot extremely low in HP. We're going to see a huge parry coming out now. Shaw is going to get himself eliminated. Arano picking up his first elimination of the game. coming through. Mike now, overhold is going to connect. Fist Blades now, picking up those purple Fist Blades right in the middle of this commotion, trying to turn the fight around. Mike, no ultimate available, is going to try and scale out. Arano on the Liam, going to try and see if he's going to be able to catch something with this ultimate. Isn't going to be able to, though. Goes for the reset here, finding that blue armor. Going to heal that up and jump right back into this action. As we're going to see this Lonnie coming through, trying to make something happen. It looks like CDY back into the mix of this fight again, gotten extremely low. And we're going to see the grab coming out from the Liam, trying to get the elimination onto CDY. It looks like he was unable to complete the kill. And Mike with the cannon shot from downtown coming and stealing the elimination. Now Lipo going to get brought extremely low. Arano going to steal the elimination from Mike here. And now Mike going to try and get himself caught up, using that F ability to get caught out of the combo. Arano going to be able to get it a second time, though. Jump LMB going to come through to try and finish that off. Mike now forced to pop his own ultimate, get away so he can heal. Arano with a beautiful kill steal under the belt of Mike there. 2 eliminations for him, 1 kill on the board for Mike, and the fight is going to continue here. F ability invested for Mike to try and kite out of this situation. He's got the dual blades in hand, does not want the aggression here. Arano continues to find a nice counter grapple coming up from Mike there to be able to put even more distance between him and Arano. He's going to continue to try and keep this space. Arano going to try and hold the outside here. Is going to be able to get the combo. Starts the combo off perfectly here, but the F ability going to be invested. Mike able to back off, gets the 1.0 overhold to be able to take Arano's shield down to almost nothing. Mike gonna jump onto the aggressive now. Arano does have ult available if he needs. Could be coming out pretty quickly here. You're gonna see ultimate coming out now from Mike as well. Arano gonna get stunned out by this. We could see the ultimate happen. He wants to hold off to the last possible second. Does have F available if he is going to get caught out by this. We're going to see the armor swap coming into play, though. Arano, huge armor swap. Now, very low in HP. We're going to see the F coming out. Ultimate available. Is going to catch him. Oh, my goodness. From downtown. Gets the pot off. Sends him through. Gets a little bit of extra health from the Siphon here. We're going to see him try and get another grab, but Mike doing a very good job at avoiding, and the 1-2 is going to come out. Arano trying to go for the parry. Is not going to catch that second ultimate here, as we're going to see. Very, very low in HP. Gets the charge into the jump LMB. Does not connect the jump LMB. F ability coming out. 1 HP in a dream. Mike, 1 catch could win this all for him. And it looks like the musket shot turned around from Arano. 3 eliminations on the board. And I spoke too soon. I was just, Liam isn't performing. Liam hasn't been doing well. Liam's not getting kills early game. Liam's not living to see end game. And Arano proving me wrong. This is what I love to see here, ladies and gentlemen. Arano picking up 3 eliminations at the Yushan Ruins, taking Mike back to the Soul Altar, sending a couple others back as well, and showing exactly why Liam's double picked and why, wow, just perfectly.
Absolutely top structure too in terms of getting eliminations, but also really being able to pin it in a lot of different areas here. Let's see if they can keep that same momentum moving in other areas here, as we're slowly going to start to reveal where some of these other players are going here, as Arano's leading the pack with 3 eliminations so far here. Overall, you see what he has. He has that blue. Does he have a gold? Is that a gold longsword? Ooh.
Gold longsword, yeah.
He's got some pretty decent loot here. Maybe he can get lucky enough to find something else here. First round of Yangs are slowly going to start to descent, show up here pretty soon here. As we see Yuan headed towards 1. GG Shaw. Looks like they're going to head towards 1 as well. Looks like Edward and looks like that was Wu Fong that might be headed towards one of the other ones here towards the center. It looks like that was near Igneous Mound. Kind of this area here, as we see CDY right next to Fung. It looks like they're gonna probably duke this out in the circle.
And Fung, we've always seen Fung going towards that salvation podium when we're on Holoroth. He loves to try and get himself that advantage by getting a gold weapon in the early game. The amount of damage that it does when you're taking a fight, you want to have any advantage that you could possibly have. This is what I've been trying to say for these past couple of days when we're talking about target selection, when we're talking about everything that has to do with why these players do what they do when they're playing Naraka, is these fights and these players' skill levels are all basically in a 50-50 when it comes to these fights. And you see definitely some players' skill levels are above others, but when you are able to tip the scales into your favor by, let's say, getting a buff, getting a weapon that's gold, getting a higher scaled loot and armor, these are the fights that you want to take where you have a huge advantage over these other players. which is why we see Fong doing a very good job of going for that gold weapon right away to get that advantage in the early game. It might not be an advantage as these players are able to pick up gold weapons after that first Yang drop, but for that early game before first Yang, if he's able to pick up a lot of eliminations, it does help him out very much so. As we're going to see this first round of Yang starting off, it's going to be Mike jumping in on one side. Nobody entered yet, as it looks like people are going to be waiting to start these fights off till the very last second, as they love to do. Naraka has come down to a game of seconds. You know, these games end just as the final circle closes and the very last seconds of the timer go away. This is what we're waiting for. Ladies and gentlemen, TE's Wufong taking on OUG's Mike, using the pistol shots coming out. Huge parry from Mike right off the rip. Is going to be able to get the catch off of the F. Doesn't lose his weapon, but Mike able to get a huge bit of damage in here. We're going to see the ultimate getting popped out from Wufong. Wufong is going to miss that first ult charge, and now Mike in the Lonnie ult is going to be able to do a lot of damage here. Going to try and get the stun off. Gets his second hit off. Missed the first one, though. Just following Wufong around, and there's nothing that he can do while this Lonnie is in the ultimate. Trying to get a heal off, is unable to come away with any sort of healing. Trying to get the stop into the circle, is not going to be able to get caught up by that Liam ultimate ball. Wufong on 1 HP now, very close to death. We're going to see the jumping LMB coming out. Mike lost all of his shield now. We're going to see another huge parry coming in. F ability invested, so no punish damage will come through off of that. But the scale rush into the one. Mike, beautiful finish. What a play coming through here as TE's Wufong is going to head back to the Soul Altar. We're going to see ASE's XY also eliminated, as we do have one more Realm of Yang that is going to be finished. About a dog going to get himself that Vermilion's Birdmite, and OE's Edward winning his Realm of Yang against Alliance's Ajiao. As we're coming out of Yang here, it looks like JL's AS fighting against SS1's CDY. AS going to back off of this, not wanting to get too aggressive into this fight, as Mike looking for his target. Is going to find CDY in the bush here, wants to get this elimination, has that Vermilion, so he's going to play extra aggressive for the next 2.5 minutes here, as we are going to be seeing him try and come through. F ability invested to avoid some damage from CDY. We're going to see him scaling through these buttery rocks, and the rocks are always a difficult place to play because you've got so much scale rush potential. It's really easy to kite out, but it's also really easy to get caught up if you're not on point with your movement here. CDY becoming the target of the lobby.
Interesting to see what the next target is as well here, as knowing you're going to get it from Mike himself here. Definitely not the best person that you want to see behind you as you hear somebody chasing you, is one of the top players here, as Mike is going to get away from almost getting caught by a blue RMB from some dual halberds. They're very dangerous here, as both of them are going to be grappling up here. CDY is on the worst side of this spectrum here. Let's see if they can keep that same momentum here. CDY is going to have to do something if he wants to see himself get out of this. Not the best momentum to kind of see if he can figure it out, but still is going to have to figure this out. Most likely here is he's going to have to come through right inside of this building here. Mike is going to go right on the round, outstretched, and Mike is going to capture the elimination. Just like that. A real tough fallout in that moment for some of these other players here, as he's just trying to see if he can get out of this as best as possible here. Meanwhile, with Edward not in a tough spot as well here, he's dangerously hurt. And a Zhao in the very last second is going to capture that elimination here. And just like that, Vermilion's Birthmite is going to get depleted, but he still will be able to go through the easy resurrection. Hopefully he was able to capture a pick, or at least I don't think he was able to. That's one of the tough things in some of these situations here. Vermilion's Birthmite is one of those get-out-of-jail-free cards, and you try to see if you can capture a quick pick. But knowing that you have 3 or 4 people around, it's definitely a lot harder to capture something. Meanwhile, Yuan is in the middle of the fight with Azao. Azao needs so much here. He pops open and gets a beautiful parry on him as well here, trying to see if he can find him for Blue Focus. And just like that, Yuan uses that momentum and that opportunity here to pop open the ulti here, see if he can slow down the movement. Pops open the F as well. Trying to see if he can slow down the movement here. Sadly, misses out on some beautiful hits, though, with the dual halberds. He's going to be able to catch him with the juggle. Not being able to do too much. Zhao misses out with that parry. Oh, turns around. Is going to be able to do it yet again to him. Let's see if he does one more time. He ends up catching him with the Justina. And is able to go through with the shield. And just like that, he's able to pop stretch. Try to see if maybe he can pop it with it. Oh, beautiful timing. Both to able to use it to potentially escape. Comes right back down. Turns it around. And gets the pick onto him as well. Beautiful execution off of that.
And we saw the ult variation come out there, where the new changes to that Justina ult. If you press V while in your ultimate, you're going to be able to change those last dashes that you have remaining to those guaranteed dashes that we saw from the V2, as we did see the removal of the entire V2 ultimate. He was able to get the guaranteed freeze, and the 1-over with a huge damage coming out from that spear was able to get him a victory into that fight, granting him a soul bloom there. Ajiao putting that his 3rd elimination. XY was also on that Yang depletion. T's Wufang also Yang depletion. We saw Ajiao go for that when he gets his 2nd elimination. He was trying to get the bloom, was unable to capture it, but he's able to find XY, come away with that elimination completely undisturbed by any other players. And it looks like Baodao's Chuzheng just going to send himself completely to the storm right now. But T's Wufang, on 20 seconds left of Yang depletion, has nothing to lose, is going to follow him out into the zone here. We're going to see the F ability invested. Chuzheng almost picking up that elimination very quickly. And it looks like we're seeing another DRG spawn. Oh my goodness, Arano stealing the elimination from nowhere. These players miles into the storm. Fong coming in with a huge ultimate to try and come away with that elimination. But we're seeing WZ Arano jumping into the zone, coming through with a beautiful bow shot to steal the kill from Fong. What a crazy play here. And Baodao's Chuzheng going to be able to make it safely back into the zone. Ajiao, I believe, still alive, but we did see Wufang get completely eliminated there. No eliminations on the board for him, as Baodao's Chuzheng still getting aggressive. It looks like DRG's Fong going to try and kite this out. Doesn't want any part of this fight. These buttery rocks getting a little bit aggressive for him here. So we're going to see the Lonnie ultimate invested from Mike, though, as he's holding his position at this realm. Yang Chuzheng taking a few hits from the landing balls, as we are going to see Chuzheng still hot in pursuit, wanting to get this elimination onto Feng. Romo Yang has closed down Feng, trying to make his escape, was unable to. And now this fight could continue. Chuzheng, they don't need to take this fight, but if Chuzheng is confident in his ability to come away with that elimination, he might want to be able to go for that. And now we're taking it to the Romo Yang.
Look back on the inside here as we saw some pistol hits. Going to be able to take that strike down as Mike fighting this out with JL's AS here. Definitely a little bit of a mismatch here, knowing AS hasn't had the best sense of fighting so far here in this first game, and the second game isn't necessarily his best currently here, as we do see the turnaround, the blue RMD, and then the strike coming in from Kai Lin, trying to see if he can time it, obviously popping the ulti here. Here comes the problem that arises here with why Kai Lin is one of the top players that people pick. He does become an absolute problem once he starts to throw the ulti around. But here comes Mike, though, gonna be able to rotate this and go right back to him with the ulti as well here. He's gonna be able to capture a nice little bit of flying, throws the ball around, trying to see if he can connect as well. There's a little bit of a switcheroo. These both players coming in with both amazing displays here, but now he's just gonna absolutely juggle him here. Doesn't give him much of an opportunity here to do much, as Kylan trying to fight this out so hard. Nice stun to send him back, but Mike just putting in so much pressure, taking the time, and really seeing the advantage of where he was here. It's crazy how Mike can do so well in the amount of hecticness that happens.
Yeah, and that right there, we just see the reason why Kylan has started to fall out of this meta is that, like, we see Kylan turn out victorious in so many situations, but when you're playing against a hero who's got an ultimate like Syra's or Lanny's, there's very little that you're going to be able to do against those ultimates, and you're just taking so much damage. So AS on that Yang depletion needs to find himself an elimination. Doesn't check your bushes, ladies and gentlemen. We've learned this from last time. He's got 2 potential eliminations there and is unable to come away with anything. AS and Edward both on the Yang depletion. So we could see them start to fight each other here, as it looks like he might start to go at it. Always Edward trying to make something happen, and Edward with the my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, JL's AS gonna get hit with the 1-2-3, sent flying off of the cliff. We're gonna see Edward giving hot pursuit to that elimination here, as AS very low in HP. Being able to bring it around, even the playing field a little bit. F ability gonna get invested from Edward to avoid the uppercut from the fan, as now it looks like GG Shah has entered the mix, trying to make something happen. Edward going to pop that ultimate. We are going to see JL's AS already on immortality proc here as well. Flipping his attention over onto GG Shah, though. JL's AS extremely low. Going to try and back out of this situation. Wants to be able to use that ult, but it looks like he's just going to have to use that to kite away. Edward, full reset available for him. Going Gonna use that ult to try and get some damage off on to GG Shaw the Syra, but AS is gonna be able to steal that elimination. Edward trying to steal the Soul Bloom, wasn't able to. Shaw gonna steal the Bloom. Edward trying to make something happen, but it looks like he was unable to get the Bloom. 30 minutes and 39 seconds left. No ultimate available. This is a very sticky situation for him. He wants to get a kill here, but he doesn't want to aggress and get third-partied, and he doesn't have the ultimate as his safety fallback option.
He's in a tough situation.
It's just a really tough spot.
Yeah, he's in a tough spot here, so he has to kind of play a little bit more on the defense here, especially relative to how a lot of the other players are going, because there's a lot of aggressive players. We have Mike, Arano, and Azal with 4 eliminations on each, and they're both like, they're both really putting it on pressure right now. Like really heavy pressure on the rest of these players. So if they see anybody, especially in that moment where they're hiding, they're not really trying to engage on too many of these fights. They're really trying to make some stuff happen here. It's going to be really interesting to see how this plays forth here as Mike trying to track down all the way, seeing GG Shaw here. He wants to find the next battle here. He's been really on the hunt for a lot of different things here. I wouldn't be surprised if he has bounties on some of these people here, as he does end up doing a nice little blue LMB and sending one or both of them flying out here. Mike forcing the double and also the ulti here. Might try to use it as a little bit of a retreat. Might not necessarily want to fully engage on that, as he does have to reload his pistol. He wants to get right back in this fight here, and yet back in the fight he does. Might try to see if he could find another area here to try to get some nice combos. Looks like he almost finds one on Lipo, but wasn't able to really do much here, as it looks like Edward was finally able to get some full shield, full heals. Able to get right back into this fight here. Tries to see if he can juggle it as much as he can, but now he's back on the slow section of this map here. Oh, wait, GG Shaw might be able to use this as his advantage here. He's going to pop it open here. He might be able to get some free picks. Oh, he's able to get at least one hit off of this, and Edwards is in a tough spot here. He's going to have to try to see if he can get out of this as best as possible here. And it looks like he was able to get out of the section here. Not the best moment that he can, but also the player up top, though, on that bow, he's going to have to get out of there, because the circle will start to hurt a little bit more here, knowing that we're in circle number 5, I think. No, we're in circle 4. We're in circle 4.
Yeah, circle 4 has a minute and 15 seconds left, as GG Shaw had the big brain to go on the ballista, but he wasn't able to capitalize off of anything. Edward did get hit with the one shot, but was able to recover and get some healing in. We could see Edward going for... He needs to get a pick here, so we are going to see him getting incredibly aggressive. It looks like Lipo has become the target of the lobby, trying to make it into the caves to be able to kite this out. It looks like he has done a good job. The movement on these players, especially with the dagger. The buttery rocks are not always your friend, though, ladies and gentlemen, as it looks like he has been able to get caught out. Makes the scale rush up top, though. Ultimate is going to be popped here to try and put some pressure onto some of these other players, and it looks like the stun is going to come out. Huge stun onto Edward. Very close to no ultimate, and it looks like he is going to go down here. Ede getting eliminated, and oh my goodness, the double dash coming up from Ajao. Surgical elimination right there. What a beautiful kill on to Lipo, as Ajao dashes up, dashes straight into... Oh my goodness, Ajao with a beautiful play on the Justina here. And this is what I was saying, is our end game is going to be... We do see Arano still. Arano is still our only Liam live left in this lobby, but we've got Lani, Syra, and Justina as our other contenders. 5 eliminations for Ajao, 2 for GG Shaw, 2 for Chuzhang, 4 for Arano, and 4 for Mike, as this Spirit Well has started to come. It looks like Bauda's Chuzhang going to pop that ultimate, and it's going to give him that Mystic Might buff completely for free here, as we are going to see, as he does collect the Spirit Well. If you don't know, ladies and gentlemen, he is going to get himself a free ultimate ability to use. So this is what we're seeing here. But with the Lani ult, you use rage charges when you throw, so he does only have that 40% ultimate left available for him. So even though he got the free ult reset, he did not get too much value out of it here, as it looks like Chuzhang on the 40% ult does have that Mystic Might. He does have all of that armor swap available if he wants to go and make a play back to where the Spirit Well was captured, get himself a free armor. GG Shaw now up on the top here. We're going to see him in a little bit of a scale rush battle. I believe that's Mike and Bauda's Chuzhang trying to make something happen. It looks like these players are just going to start kiting it out. We've got 6 minutes left in the game. It's still anybody's match. The kills are all pretty close together. Shaw doing a good job at kiting. It looks like Chuzhang wants to get aggressive, but is going to lay off for the meantime, and Mike is still putting so much pressure on the whole lobby.
A lot of pressure is needed here, especially with how these players are giving the pressure. Knowing that, like I said before, Azal on the top spot here, he looks like he's going to pull a Yuan here in a second with 6 eliminations. If he gets one more decent pick here, Azal's going to be in a very similar situation. He's going to put Yuan on the back line of this elimination period here for the bi-weekly. As Azal is 1 elimination away from tying it up with Yuan from game number 1. Another good observation to see here, as we're seeing Arano and Mike still tied up with that 4. They're not really going to be forcing too many fights here, as Chuz is, you know, being chased, which is interesting, knowing that he has a shield and everything. It's like they want to see if they can capture a pick here, and both of them are just being so little nosy, mostly, at least from what I could tell. Let's just see if they can keep that same momentum running into it. Definitely a little bit unexpected for some of the things that's been happening so far here. Is Mike slowly going to close this gap in little by little? Gonna make it a little bit harder as he tries to see if he can close in that gap. And it goes GG Shaw coming outside, almost getting caught up. And Mike is gonna find him on the stretch of this rock. Almost catches him with the blue LMB from Chuz. But Shaw just trying to get away here, knowing that there's so much aggression from some of these players. It really takes one good strikes. It takes one parry. And just like that, the full lobby absolutely focuses in on one player. And that's the last thing that you really want to be here. As GG Shaw is just the movement master right now here. You know, as I said before, you got to make sure to continue to keep studying in the book of Shaw. Just be a little bit careful, you know? The book of Shaw is very, very important here, especially when it comes to third parties. But right now, he's in the worst predicament here in terms of third party as he forces the ulti to pop up. Uses some of that light rays to be able to give himself a little bit more shield here. Not gonna be able to do too much here. He's gonna most likely fall for the reset as he fights Mike. Throws him all the way down towards the edge of the map here. Might be able to find a little bit of some free space here to pop open some shield before it gets really hasty. I don't know why he's doing it from the outside of the circle, but that didn't really do him too much favors. He was able to get some shield, but the heals now he has less, actually.
Yeah, he was trying to avoid Mike, the pressure that Mike's putting on. He's got gold dual halberds, dragon-like Might coming out. I guess we could call him Dragon-like Mike, but
like Mike. Sorry.
he's definitely got a lot of pressure potential to be able to put on here. And Shaw now just getting sent out of the zone, trying to get a pot off, but it's really difficult. It looks like he is going to be able to get a lot of heals off. So one of these players, no one wants to go down and try and fight against this here. It looks like he might just go out to zone. As he's if he goes in zone for another half second, he is going to get eliminated here. So he needs to find his way. If he gets pushed out into the zone one more time, and there it is, boom, stuck into the zone. Mike picking up the elimination there, though. And it looks like Mike getting brought extremely low because of it. 1 HP in a dream now, and Arano going to be able to get a huge bow shot to complete that elimination. Arano now on 5. Ajao on 5. Mike ending his run of eliminations on 5 kills with that last pick that he was able to get. GG Shaw just playing a little bit too close to the circle here. These players really wanted to get that Syra out, as it's just such a difficult job to be able to take a Syra out, especially when they have ult in that final circle. They did a very good job of it, but it cost Mike his life to get himself that elimination. He is climbed up to 3rd place, though, passing both Fun Plus Phoenix and SR in the overall standings at 42.1 points. He could take this overall with the top place. This is only after game 2, so he does have a good shot. We're seeing Arano up on the top with Engraving. We're seeing the Chuzhang, I believe, has Rampage, and Cavalry Bloom for Asia. So all of these players with some good Jades ready to make something happen. Chuzhang just ducking and diving around the map there. Look at the movement with the Hung Sword. Absolutely crazy. As this zone is very, very open. We've got a little bit of levels coming through, but not so much as to it's going to isolate a fight. All of 3 of these players are going to have to come together in the next 55 seconds. As Circle 7 closing in with 50 seconds left in the game, ladies and gentlemen. This is where it's going to start to get spicy. We might see one of these players try and take to the skies here, and it looks like we already have Ajao getting up top, Arano trying to get up top as well. We could see the engraving make a huge play with from up top, that focus attack dropping all the way from kiting up high down. Look at that.
There.
We're seeing the grapples coming out, the double jump into the grapples. These players are just doing a really good job of holding their space. And now we're going to see it. Ultimates getting popped. Every single player with their ultimates now popped out. We're seeing Ajao just jumping to the sky. Chuzhang with a huge advantage in this as Alani just being able to float around everyone, knocking them into the zone. And this is where Chuzhang is going to prevail. He's going to come out here, and I believe he gets both of these eliminations. Chuzhang is going to pick up one. Alliance's Ajao picking up the other. Chuzhang, I believe Ajao might come through with the MVP here, as he did have 6 eliminations and Chuzhang only with 3. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Ajao, Alliance's Ajao, and this is what I'm saying, Justina is our MVP. We've seen a Kylan and a Justina as MVPs. These players are doing such a good job at countering the heroes that could really make a problem for you when it comes to these final circles. Liam not able to perform as expected in these final circles, where we'd love to see a lot more coming out from that Liam ultimate. If he's able to catch one of those players in a ball and send them away, he can knock one player into the other. And Chuzhang just a phenomenal use of that Lani ultimate to stay in the zone for so long. Everybody else taking that storm tick damage way before he does, so the heal off is just out of the question, and Chuzhang able to use those Lani balls to completely knock their opponents off their game.
Really good for a lot of reasons here, and obviously he's gonna just keep that same momentum just kind of going here. Let's see if they can keep it going with everything that's happening. Still gonna work through it for a lot of different areas, but
yeah, I mean, it's
a good moment.
It's definitely interesting. You know, when we're seeing these hero picks, especially in solos, like you think that obviously if a hero is insta-locked at the front, like Liam, you think that he'd be winning every single one of these games, but it looks like yet again, you know, we saw Arano in the top 3 as the Liam, but he wasn't able to dominate those final circles like the Lani could. And you know, they did a really good job of forcing that Syra to go out pretty early before that circle came to its final close. Otherwise, that match could have gone a completely different way. With the Syra laser beam and the extra health that you get from her ultimate, it's just a completely different end circle that way if the Syra is allowed to remain in the game. So good job of them for being able to recognize that and take the Syra out pretty early into that final circle. I don't know what Shaw was doing trying to heal in the zone. It was
I don't know either.
A very, very risky move for him there. And I feel like that was just his downfall. He was playing in the zone a little bit too much. That sickness and then storm damage was too high for him to be able to do that. And I think that ended up just biting him in the butt near the end there. But ladies and gentlemen, we have another answer for Treasure.
How many players chose Kylan Zhang in game number 2? Is it 1, 2, 3, or 4? Put your answer in chat for a spring split random. Spring split random gift. Sometimes it gets caught up with the tongue. You know, sometimes it's real hard when you try to do it with the tongue. It's just not necessarily working sometimes when it's not connecting with that. But yeah, other than that, still able to work through a lot of these different areas here within the map here. And obviously, we're about to head over to the next game, which we still have to go through the standings. But obviously that's going to be a very close game. I think even with Chuj like getting that first place, I think he's going to be most likely in second, which I'm correct. Oh my goodness, look at the difference. I knew it was going to be a very close amount of points here. But look at this, a 0.1 difference between second, third, and fourth, by the way.
Yeah.
Second, third, and fourth had a 0.1 point difference.
It's not something you see every day. It's definitely something that's pretty crazy. These players must be pretty choked up about it. But I mean, they all performed well, so it's, you know, you can't be mad at tying with somebody. You know, especially if you know you're Mike and you're already really high up in the scoreboard. I believe he's 3rd place in the overall standings now. As we're seeing, AS, Lipo, and Shaw still holding down that bottom area. 6.5 though, which is the amount of points that Shaw got in his first day of playing. Now we're going to be seeing Ajao climbing up in that 12th place position. Chuzhang on the 27.1. So very, very close climbing up here. We're seeing Edward as well has got himself even higher into these standings. Wufang with the 4.5 on the day so far in 10th place. PXT, this could be trouble for Paste and for our other player down at the bottom there. And we're seeing
Very much trouble.
This could be trouble for them with Teach25, as they could get dropped completely out of the running, which we haven't seen somebody go from 6th place all the way down to 13th. So, you know, it's a lot of points for these players to put up, but it still could happen. We're now seeing Mike is in 3rd place behind Verse and Frostivus, and Arano picking up that 6th place spot. I couldn't catch where XY was in that, which was unfortunate. But ladies and gentlemen, we've got our highlights brought to you by China Unicom here. OA's Edward. Pretty explosive start to the game. Did end up going out pretty quickly near the end, though, because we're going to see TE's Wufang was able to come through with the elimination onto Edward at the start. We're going to be flipping it around now. Asia, 5 elimination game, huge parry onto AS, and the Kylan was not able to reign victorious there. Yeah, XY with only a 1-point game after his MVP match in game number 1. You know, it's unfortunate to see, but hopefully we won't see so much inconsistency from him as these games go on. And this is a huge risk, taking the musket out at that close range when you're on such low HP, but he was able to connect with the shot. And look at this play. Ajao on the Justina was absolutely crazy. He was able to make some insane plays. Look at this kill onto Edward here. He's able to pick up huge overhead bonk. Always Edward just absolutely confused. I parried, bro. What's going on, Ed? We saw it happen again earlier. Alliance to Asia was able to make a beautiful double dash play to take out one of these players. I don't think they're going to show it in our highlights here, but he does come away with a beautiful victory for a amazing finish. Now taking a look at his stats, 6 eliminations, 13,000 damage, so we didn't see as much damage coming out as we did from our Kylan XY game. We see the Assault Shoulder, Scatter Shot, 2 Scatter Shots, Advanced Heal, Alchemy, and the Cavalry Bloom. Spear doing the most damage for him, Cannon being the second, Dual Halberds giving him 2,400 damage, 4,788 healing, 2 parries, 9,851 of his damage done with the melee weapons. He did have a decent amount coming from the range. It's mostly the melee weapons. With a hero like Justina, you're not going to get damage from your ultimate. And yeah, what a phenomenal game. This is his 2nd time MVP already after 1 bi-weekly split.
A lot of different things here overall, but it's very, very helpful when it comes to it at the very end. I mean, it was very solid of a performance. And especially with how close that difference is in terms of how that game was going. And obviously Chuz, you know, with that ulti, the timing was really beautiful. And he didn't really have to do too much. I'm really surprised they both didn't start like kind of attacking the one who's ulting and floating in the air in between. And it kind of just left them very open, knowing that he could just throw the ball. Pew, pew, pew. And just keep throwing them and just watch them scatter and just be like, bye-bye. And just like that, he was able to get 2 free eliminations. He just sat there. He didn't have to work really for it. It was just all about timing and just being like, what? So, kind of interesting to see how that goes here. But in speaking of that, I'm going to throw this at you as we're about to get ready to lock in for our game number 3. So stay tuned as we're going to get ready for our halfway point of Naraka Blade.